MerFins, my name is Justine, I'm the Mermaid seamstress, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 Mahinas that are behind me. And because we're talking about Mahinas today, I thought I'd bring in a special guest who's not only a monofin expert, but a Mahina enthusiast herself, Nerdmaid Faith!
Hey! Glad to be here. I love the Mahinas.
I'm so glad you could join us virtually. Oh my gosh, Mahinas are crazy. They're awesome, and as a fishy who likes to go Neum, I know that they are one of your favorites.
Oh, yes.
Are they your favorite monofin?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's my favorite monofin.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about something that Faith and I have been noticing for a couple of months now, and it's not something unique to us. Other people have kind of noticed it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a difference that I've noticed within members of my pod, and then talking with people online on forums and groups and such. So we're talking about the little known fact of difference in stiffness between different Mahinas.
The 3 different colors, or I guess 4 different colors of Mahina, and there's also some difference in, because of that stiffness and kind of the feel of the rubber, that relates to the comfort and how it swims.
So we have the classic edition, which are the colors. So I have the blue one.
Yep. You can see that there's an orange one right back here. So aquamarine, sunset orange, and then there's another series of Mahina. This is the Water Woman series, which is black rubber.
It's so sexy.
And then there's also a 4th Mahina called the Gypsy, which is kind of like a dip-dyed one. I haven't personally seen it in person.
Me neither.
So I reached out to the Mahina company about this phenomenon to see if they knew about it, and I actually got an email back with some great information. So we're going to be going over that email, and then we're also going to be going through what I've read online from forums and what Faith and I have experienced ourselves. So Faith, you forwarded to me a conversation from the Mer Network that has been talking about this for a long time. What have you experienced as the difference between these fins?
Well, myself personally, I got this Mahina 3 years ago now, still in great condition. If you want a long-lasting fin, go with the Mahina, just a side note. So I had this for a while, and I showed it to my friend Rebecca, and she's like, heh, yes. And then she purchased a black Mahina, much like this one, and we're hitting the pool up, and we're like, oh, let's swap the monofins. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this one, it just feels so much, like, softer and squishier, especially right around the foot pockets. It's a really almost, like, bouncy feeling. And we were noticing that when we were swimming, whereas this one, it's not so much of a bouncy feeling. It doesn't have as much give. And so that's when I first noticed it. And we pretty much theorized that the black one was a softer rubber. We were like, it's like it's made of tires. Because that's kind of what it felt like, is that it's made of rubber tires. Whereas the blue one's definitely a lot stiffer. And I think that most people do experience rubbing with the blue one, like along their ankles and stuff. I don't have that much of a problem, but I think that this one is definitely a lot more painful on feet, whereas this one is a lot more like the Luna or the Mer Fantasy fins, where it definitely works with your foot and feels very comfortable, sort of like a pair of Crocs.
Right, exactly, which is a really weird thing to me. I first noticed this kind of difference when I got, so I have modified my green one, as a lot of people have noticed. I've cut the tips off. So when I got my Shop Vancouver Mermaid tail, I ordered a second-hand Mahina in the exact same size as my aquamarine one in orange, and this one kills my feet. For now, I have 3 of them, and I just want to show you something real quick, which I have noticed. So when I hold this Mahina here and let it flop, this is how much this Mahina bends in half. Like, it completely sags over, and I'm barely supporting it on the other side, which you can see Faith's actually is a lot more stable. Which I think is interesting. But if you look at my orange one, I can hold it by the same way, and it actually flops a lot less. Like, it's a lot less of a curve, which I think is interesting, and I think that that notes stiffness. Another thing we've noticed is, like, if you do this, you might not be able to see it very well. It's very hard to explain, but the black one is definitely a lot more floppy. And as Faith said, it feels a lot more like a pair of Crocs or like a tire. And so I asked, in my email to the Mahina company, I asked what could this difference be? And what they said was that they used to produce the normal MerFin series, which is the green and the orange one, with a different type of rubber than their Water Woman series, which is the black one, and their Gypsy series. And that now they produce them with the same mix of rubber. So originally, but I don't know, they didn't tell me how recently they made this change. So my black Mahina is only a couple months old, and my green one is probably around Faith's age, like 3 years old. So I was really confused as to like how recently this could have happened, or because I got my Mahina, I ordered it through Amazon, if backstock or third-party sellers still had the old differences, or if the new Mahinas are significantly softer and they're all more like the Water Woman series.
Yeah, like
Do you know anything about that?
I ordered this one from a fellow mermaid in Calgary, and I think she got it from a Liquidation World. So I've had this only for a couple of months, probably about 4 or 5 months, and it's definitely a floppier version. And but yeah, I think that people who may have gotten it directly from Mahina recently have been like, I don't really notice a difference, if they even noticed a difference at all. So it's just something to keep in mind, but each Mahina is different, which is something I really like about it. One of my friends in the Mermaids of BC pod has this exact same fin in a different, or the exact same fin and the exact same size and color, but we're easily able to identify which ones are ours based on these little color splotches of the recycled rubber. So every Mahina is different, which might lead to different amounts of softness or stiffness in each of the fins, which is interesting.
You know, necessarily controlled rubber, like manufactured. There are slight differences between each fin, but I also think that there's still a difference between the coloration and maybe the way that the coloration process affects the fins that makes them stiffer or floppier and softer. So Faith, what do you think this means in terms of their power and agility?
Well, I think definitely the stiffer ones go faster. I haven't noticed a massive difference between my blue one and my black one, but I have literally swam with both Mahinas at the same time, and I've 100% noticed that my kick with my left foot, which I'd wear the blue Mahina with, is stronger than my kick with my right foot, which I'd use the black Mahina with, because the black Mahina would bend in on itself a little bit more. You can see how easily I can snap this monofin in half, whereas this one, I have to push it a little bit further to get it to actually fold.
Yeah, and that is similar to the way like Mertailers fins are. I've heard a lot of people say like, oh my, you know, there's a drastic difference between the way my two fins fit even though they have the same foot pocket size. And in terms of the Mahinas, they all have the same price on the Mahina website. They're about $110 US. And they all have the same size charts, they all have the same pricing, they all have the same shape and size. They're made in the same mold. It's just the texture of each are different, which is why I think that like even you notice a difference between the colors of the ones that are supposed to be of the same rubber, that being the green and the orange. Because the green one, my green one, I can wear it with bare feet, no problem. It doesn't give me any problems whatsoever. And my orange one gives me like blisters so bad I have scars from them. I think that this is something that people should take into account. So a lot of people, when they're buying a monofin that they think is the exact same with each, they just go for the color, and the color is a huge motivator for them. Do you think that this should be taken into consideration when choosing your color?
I'd say
that
so.
It's going to make that big of a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say so, especially if you're purchasing it from someone secondhand or from a liquidation store or another third-party seller like Amazon in the next little while. It's probably a good idea to think about what you need. If you're comfortable with, you know, stronger monofins and ones that are maybe a little harder on the feet, like I'm trying to think of like, I don't know, like the Fin Fun, If you're fine with like monofins on your feet and you don't have much problems, then I would say go for one that you think is going to be faster if that's what you like, or in the color you like. But if you're a little cautious and maybe you prefer fins like the Luna or the Fantasy, I think that the black Mahinas are a better step to go.
So while we have a little bit of a break, I want to thank the sponsors of this video, being my Patreon pod. Thank you guys so much for supporting me in everything I do. If you would like to support me monetarily, you can join Patreon for as little as $1 a month to get exclusive behind the scenes footage with me. Our second sponsor today is shopvancouvermermaid.com. If you don't know, Faith and I are both affiliates, meaning you can get 10% off your Shop Vancouver Mermaid orders by either using code Nerdmaid or Mermaid Seamstress at checkout to get 10% off any in-stock leggings, tops, mermaid dresses, and more to live your life so mermaid. Thank you, Nerdmaid Faith, so much for joining me for this awesome video. Big hug, fishy. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, fish friends.